Apologies for that interruption. If you were watching earlier, we had a heat-related incident that unfortunately shut down our cameras. It is very warm out here. We are actually in the middle of a heat wave here in Santa Clarita. So if you're just joining us, thank you so much for picking back up again. It is greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, that same heat that caused an issue with our previous broadcast is also unfortunately going to make fighting this fire much, much more difficult. As I previously mentioned, as of our last update, the fire was at least 4 acres in size with structures threatened. And as I mentioned, we saw several residents coming out on horseback, yelling to their neighbors how they needed help getting the horses off of the property in order to get everybody out safely. I haven't heard anything about a potential acreage on this one. Last of I heard it was about 4 acres in size with structures threatened. Assumedly, those structures would be the ranches where those horses that we saw fleeing the incident were from. We do know that there are several residents in the area currently working to try to help people who are living back there and their horses out safely. There were also a couple of residents where I heard one man who was coming home and he was very concerned because his father was in hospice care in the area, and he was very concerned about his safety and being able to get him out. So if you do not live in the area, please try to avoid Vasquez Canyon Road between Sierra Highway and Bouquet Canyon. All you're going to be doing is clogging up the area for emergency responders and people who are actually trying to get out and get their loved ones out safely. This is a really good reminder actually for everybody. If you don't already, that is very interesting. So there's actually a little bit of a kick up of smoke there. You might be able to see on the left side of your screen. But if you guys are not already have a plan in place, I really suggest this is a really good time to try and get your plan for fire evacuation in place so that if something like this happens to you and your property, you know exactly what to do. Things that you really want to know where they are is pretty much in any emergency situation, be it earthquake or fire or flood or anything along those lines. There's a couple of main key things you want to keep track of. Your important documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, ownership, things like that. You want to be able to have all of those in just one place so that if you do have to run, you'll be able to grab all of your most important things and just go. You could put your family photos or potentially a hard drive with copies of all those documents all in one spot. You can even put that in with a pack of almost an overnight bag. So if you do have to run, you'll be able to have at least toiletries and a couple of changes of clothes with you if you do have to evacuate, and evacuate quickly. Because if there's something I've seen in my past couple of years here at KHTS is fires always come on much quicker than you expect. There's a lot of the times where people think they're going to have the time to be able to pack up and collect their things, and sometimes they don't. If you're lucky, you might have enough warning that you're not going to have the sheriff knocking on your door and telling you to run. But your best bet as a resident, especially in Southern California, as these fire seasons are getting worse and worse, is to make sure that you have everything you need in order to continue your life and help rebuild in case the worst hits and you end up losing some part of your property. Now, as I mentioned, as of our last update, we had last heard that the fire was about 4 acres in size with structures threatened. I don't know if you guys are able to hear it, but there are several helicopters flying overhead as of this very moment that are working to try to get the fire under control. You can actually see one of them from the Los Angeles County Fire Department coming down very low on that side of the screen there. It looks like it might be coming in for a land. It is. Looks like that LA County helicopter is coming in for a landing. That is very interesting. That could be due to a couple of different reasons. It could be for evacuation. We'll be trying to get more information on that over at the KHTS news team. So normally when it comes to these stories, it's not just me. I'm here on scene telling you guys what to avoid, what exactly is going on, giving you guys a visual, but the rest of the KHTS news team is working very hard trying to make sure that all the information that I'm telling you is accurate and up to the minute. So I'd like to give a thanks to everybody back in the KHTS newsroom. Going back to our coverage here at the Vasquez Fire, just off of Vasquez Canyon Road and Burton Way in Saugus. This is between Bouquet Canyon and Sierra Highway. Now, we haven't heard really many updates in terms of the size of the fire in a little bit. which is unfortunate, but that can actually be a good thing because that means that the fire has not grown much. We did just see a Los Angeles County fire helicopter land just ahead of us here at the Vasquez Fire. We're trying to figure out more about what's going on with that, but there are several helicopters that are servicing the area at this moment. Your best bet is to try to avoid the area and just make sure that any residents, such as the ones that we saw who are leading their horses out, will be able to get out safely, and that firefighters will be able to fight the fire without having to deal with extra people kind of getting in their way. There were a couple of things happening where we had bulldozers coming through that weren't able to fit because everybody was driving about 20 miles per hour, so they could try to get a better look at the smoke, which is not conducive to firefighting operations, unfortunately. Now, if you guys want more information, you can head on over to KHTS Radio at hometownstation.com, where you'll be able to get more information on what is going on. I'll give you a recap of this fire right here. This is the Vasquez Fire, just north of Vasquez Canyon Road, near Burton Way, which is in between Sierra Highway and Bouquet Canyon Road. So if you are familiar with the area, this is just north of Mystery Mesa. As of the last update that I heard, the fire was about 4 acres in size with structures threatened. We did see several people fleeing the area with their horses and shouting to their neighbors and actually going back in to try to get the rest of their horses out safely and get them evacuated. We're asking everybody to please avoid Vasquez Canyon Road if at all possible, as you possibly could impede with emergency vehicles trying to get into the area. There was some issues with bulldozers trying to get to the fire itself, and California Highway Patrol was actually having to clear the way with a loudspeaker because everybody was slowing down to try to get a look at the fire. So please try to avoid the area. We'll be trying to give you more information as this goes on. We do know that one of the Los Angeles County fire helicopters has landed near the scene of the incident. We're not quite exactly sure why as of this very moment. However, we have heard from neighbors living in the area that it is possible that there are some people who may need medical help out due to pre-existing medical conditions, nothing incurred by the fire itself. We'll be trying to get more information as that goes on. Perfect. And if you want to take a look, there is a story over on our website that you can actually go click on and check out for more information. Now, we're going to be here for a little while. I'm going to turn off this live for a moment because some of our equipment is overheating and I don't want to leave you high and dry. If you'd like more information, you can head on over to hometownstation.com. Follow us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KHTS Radio. Thank you very much. This is Jade Abashan.